Hello, guys, and welcome to Open Mic Night. I am your host, Tommy. So I'm coming to you again with another archive episode. It's been kind of a weird week. So number one, it was Christmas, and because Stacy was sick, she came down with the flu, which I've already said twice in the last couple of previous episodes. But sometimes people start listening to these things with the last episode first for some reason, as opposed to going to episode 1 and then working their way up. So anyway, to recap, my wife got sick this week with the flu. It basically ruined our Christmas. Everything got canceled, and that included tonight's meeting with Lucas to do some recording. So what I did was I took it upon myself this week to release a couple of old Fun Time Horror Show archives as Christmas presents to our listeners. You should definitely check those out. They are... there was a lot of love and hard work that went into those. So don't let it be in vain. Please listen to those, enjoy them, and then move on to the next episode, which I just recorded, which is number 6, which I talk about the, I guess, the movement, the sovereign citizen movement, if you will, which is very interesting. Basically, there's kind of a movement of people who don't feel like the laws of the land apply to them. Anyway, I don't want to get into it right now, but it's very interesting. I've been basically watching videos on it for over a week, and I finally decided to talk about it, especially since I'm here by myself tonight, because again, Lucas couldn't join me due to Stacy's illness and the fact that we didn't want Lucas to run the risk of getting sick. So to make up for that, and in the spirit of me loving my wife so much, I went back and I dug up a couple of episodes that actually she and I worked on together, and I'm going to release those now. The first one that I'm going to do is the first one that we ever did together. We kind of had this idea. There was this other show that we listened to a lot that we liked, where basically it was like a husband and wife team, and they would each bring a story, and neither one of them knew what they were going to talk about. And so as they were telling their stories, it was kind of a surprise, and we basically ripped that off and made up our own version of it. And in this episode, Stacy talks about something known as the Bunker Twins, and I tell a story about a UFO crash that happened in Aurora, Texas. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and as soon as I get done releasing this one, I'm going to go back in and I'm going to release a second episode, and I'll tell you all about that one as soon as I get to it. So have a good time with the episode. We'll see you soon.
Hello and welcome to the Funtime Freak Show. If you're here, you pretty much know what to expect. This show could, and probably will, contain graphic details of violence and give descriptions of sexual conduct. As you're tuning into this show, you obviously are very sexy and a very intelligent person and won't attempt any of what we talk about at home. But listener discretion is still highly advised. Now, on to the Freak Show.
Hello there, guys, and welcome into the Funtime Freak Show. This is Tommy, and for this episode, we're going to take it back to the original format. Well, kind of. I'm here with my guest today. You guys know her as the lovely and talented Stacy.
What? I'm the guest?
And I know her as the woman that graciously agrees to show me her boobs on occasion.
And feed him, and clean for him, and wash all his clothes.
Yeah, sometimes. So, going back, what I was saying to the original format, I was bringing a topic, Stacy was bringing a topic, neither one of us knew what the other one was going to talk about, and then we would share a story. Today, I have written out some really random stuff, and I felt kind of silly doing an episode by myself, and so Stacy is here for commentary purposes.
Graciously, thank you.
Yes. So please send your tips via... And if that got picked up on the microphone, Daisy is here with us as well.
Of course she is, because she is original co-host.
She is original co-host, yeah. Say hello, Daisy.
Hello.
Okay, so that's Daisy. So I don't know what the name of this episode. Dude.
Okay.
Daisy. Thank you. Okay, so I don't know what the original...
Daisy.
Oh my God.
Shh. Okay, that's good.
So I don't know what the original, or I don't know what the title of this episode is going to be. But I have my script that I've prepared entitled Scary Things That You Wish You Didn't Know.
I already wish I didn't know.
I'm going to bring some things to your attention that you may not know that are really fucked up. And then at the end of each thing, you're probably going to be like, hey, Tommy, why in the hell would you ever tell me that? Now it's in my brain.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So here are some things that I believe are facts. I actually took some time to look up each one of these just to make sure, that I found on a website called BuzzFeed that had an article I found extremely interesting entitled 27 Horrifying Facts That I Really Suggest You Don't Read. So interesting.
So therefore you read them.
Yeah, so I read them. I'm going to skip a few of them. Actually, I'm going to skip probably like 7 or 8 of them because they were kind of lame. But these were the ones that I found interesting enough to continue to do research on, along with the little additional research I did on each topic. And we're back. This time without Daisy. She has been removed from the world. No, I'm just kidding. We just put her outside. Let's jump right in here, Stacy. Would you like to come on this trip with me?
Should I pack a bag?
Come on, chase me.
Oh,
So-
I love that. Let's chase you. I'll chase you to your seat.
Yeah,
Come on.
chase me. So, number 1, a fir tree growing in a person's lungs.
No.
Yes. According to an article in the New York Post, this Russian guy who was having some health problems was diagnosed as having a tumor inside of his lungs. The man's name was Artyom Sidorkin.
Don't even try.
I attempted. A 28-year-old man. He went to the hospital after having a lot of chest pain, and then he was like coughing up blood. And upon initial inspection, the diagnosis was a tumor. But upon surgery, doctors removed what he described as a 2-inch tall tree growing in the lungs of this man.
What?
It's suspected that he actually had inhaled like a seed at some point. And
the dirt?
I don't know. And I guess it was flying through the air. And it ultimately grew into a tiny tree in his lungs.
I can't even grow a tiny tree in a pot.
That is also a fact. Number 2, Stacy kills everything that we plant. No. So, number 2, 1 in 3 murders go unsolved.
I believe that.
Not a lot to say here except to point out a study that I found from a place called the Scripps Howard News Service, whatever that is. But they did a study on the FBI's Uniform Crime Report that concluded that since 1980 through 2019, which was the year of the study, almost 200,000 cases of homicide and manslaughter had gone unsolved.
I totally know that's true. Every time I see a one of those unsolved murder mysteries, the police have no clue. Unless it's somebody that person was involved with, like a family member or a friend.
Yeah, and one thing that I've realized too after doing so much true crime is that cops never really solve fucking anything.
No, it just kind of happens.
It's like
They're told a secret or something.
either a person gets arrested and then they start confessing to shit that they did that they had no clue about, or somebody turns them in.
Which is why I say, if you're going to commit a crime, don't tell anybody.
Don't tell anybody. Number 3, 250,000 deaths a year are from medical accidents. This is actually a low number. According to an article at CNBC, medical errors are actually the 3rd leading cause of all death in the United States at 250,000, but it could actually account for over 400,000 total deaths.
That's crazy.
That's why I don't go to the fucking doctor, because they ain't going to practice medicine on me, son. Only cancer and heart attack outweighs the deaths caused by these accidents.
Accidents? Like,
Yeah.
are you talking about gauze inside, or like
Yeah.
you cut a wrong arm off, or what are you talking about?
Somebody needs like an IV for fluids and they accidentally pump them full of like heroin.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
I can totally see that. Yeah.
So yeah, 250 to 400,000. So, and then only cancer and heart attack outweigh the number of deaths.
That's crazy.
One reason there is such a discrepancy in these numbers is there's actually a lot of medical examiners and coroners that will not list human error as a cause of death.
I can see that. Yeah.
I mean, that's dumb though. But based on these numbers, if you die while under the care of doctors in a hospital, if you actually died while in the care of doctors in a hospital, there's a 1 in 10 chance that you had died based on something they did rather than what got you in the hospital to begin with. This ultimately results in lawsuits and results in me having to pay $200 for a fucking Band-Aid and 2 aspirin.
Which is why they probably don't list the death as some kind of medical accident.
Probably because they don't want to get their colleagues in trouble, probably.
Right,
so,
right.
Number 4. If the sun exploded,
Oh my God.
I'm sorry.
This is a big if.
This is where my mind goes. I went from like trees growing inside people to
To
medical
the sun
malpractice to
exploding.
the sun exploding.
Yes.
If the sun exploded, you wouldn't actually know it for about 8 minutes and 20 seconds.
I can see that.
That's the time that it takes for light to travel from the sun to the earth.
I will tell you, I'd get a really badass sunburn for about 8 minutes.
No, you'd be a sunburn for a split second. It would also result in the complete destruction of Earth. That made me wonder what that even might be like. Obviously, my brain would wonder. So according to some of my research, it would be like setting off a few octillion nuclear warheads at one time.
Well, yeah.
I don't even know how many zeros that is.
I mean, I'm thinking like you won't even know. You just really like, oh, the sun is really hot today. Gone.
With that said, any explosion that size within 30 light years away from the planet Earth would actually decimate the entire planet. And the sun, it would only take 8 minutes.
Okay, I have an opposite. What happens if the moon explodes?
Not a damn thing.
Really?
I don't know.
None of that stuff would come towards Earth?
I think, and all bullshit aside, I have no idea. But I do know that like the tides and stuff like that of the ocean are apparently influenced by the gravitational pull of the moon or something like that.
Is it the moon or the sun? I think it's the sun.
It's the moon.
I think it's the sun.
You have to trust me on this.
Okay.
Or not.
I don't know.
I have no idea. But
I wasn't good in science class. I don't know.
Anyway, after 8 minutes and 20 seconds, all life would immediately evaporate. And actually, I put a note on here. All life would immediately evaporate within days.
No.
Oh, no. All life would immediately evaporate. And then within days, the Earth itself would actually just completely disintegrate. So,
yeah, but what happens to like the lava inside of the Earth?
Gone.
You know, but like it's as hot as the sun. So
the sun's hotter than lava, probably. We should.
How does all that energy just disappear?
Well, you can't create or destroy energy, says Buddha. And science. So
where does it go?
It goes out into the atmosphere.
Does it create another planet?
I don't know.
Oh my God, there's so many questions that this did not answer.
I apologize, and now I'm dumb. Luckily, the sun has been burning hot for about 5 billion years to this point, and most would agree that it's probably got another 5 billion to go. So I think we'll be all right.
I think we'll be dead by then, but okay.
We could possibly be dead in 5 billion
I'm going to be
years,
a battery
but
by
nobody
that
knows
time.
for sure.
I mean, Matrix says so.
Yeah. Number 5, 20% of all children report that they can hear voices.
Okay, that's very true. I believe that very much. Children have a different mental capability, and I think that they hear things.
Well, according to
know.
a scientific study, they're just crazy. But
no.
According to a study by RCSI, whoever that is, they had children from 11 to 13 brought in for a psychiatric study, and it was found that about 20% of them actually reported hearing voices. And then over time, it was found that most of the kids stopped hearing whatever voices they were hearing But those that continued to hear voices showed a higher risk of developing mental illness and behavioral disorders. Obviously.
Okay, wait. First of all, 11 to 13-year-olds, they're already experimenting with drugs. I'm going to say children that are like 5-ish years old, if they hear voices, that's like a ghost.
So my question is, why did they stop hearing voices later on in their childhood? And why do we immediately jump to the ones that are still hearing voices being automatically mentally ill? What if the voices are real and the kids over time, after hearing it constantly that what they were hearing wasn't real, just simply gave up on whatever gift they had, and the others were maybe just embarrassed and admitted that they didn't hear it, and because all their friends who were saying that they could still hear voices were labeled as crazy. You know what I mean?
Or the ones who heard it when they were young, now, like when they get older, like they keep telling themselves, oh, I'm not hearing a voice, I'm not hearing a voice. And they stop believing in what they're hearing. And so that turns off that part of the brain.
That's literally what I think I said.
And is it? And then the ones who say, yeah, I believe it, they kind of start believing it. And then they become crazy because they do believe that stuff.
Have you ever heard that there could possibly be 2,000 serial killers at large at any moment?
I believe that too.
Okay, I don't think it's real, but I've actually heard this before, and really, after I did some research, I could really only find reports that say about 50.
No.
But with that said, still a lot of fucking murdering going on. And on a global scale, if we just don't look at serial killers, but those that just simply murder, for instance, countries with like radical ideologies compared to what we're used to that kill their citizens for like the least amount of crimes, and like war leaders and all that kind of stuff. There's just a lot of killing going on.
Well, and then there's some states that have a lot of serial killers in the first place, like Washington and Florida. I don't know what's going on with them.
Yeah. There are 40 supervolcanoes that, when erupting, or if they were to erupt, could kill up to 1 billion people. And we're currently overdue for one of these eruptions by over 24,000 years.
1 billion people?
Yeah.
Like isn't that more than the U.S.? Like how many people are in the U.S.?
I have no idea. A few 100 million probably. So yeah.
So it would kill everybody in
like
the world is what you're saying.
China. Like if just everybody in China
because the ash would cover so many and would like become a night sky all the time.
Maybe.
Kill all the food and all that stuff.
But this is backed up by an article I read on the BBC website, which talks about volcanoes being able to kill thousands. But if a supervolcano, which is very real, it could in fact kill upward of 1 billion people upon eruption. A single eruption would not only claim the lives of countless individuals, but ultimately have an impact on an entire planet. Apparently, the most recent eruption happened in Indonesia around 74,000 years ago. And scientists figure, based on the research, that these types of eruptions happen about every 50,000 years. So if it happened 74,000 years ago, and throughout our planet's entire history, it happens about every 50,000 years, that does mean that we're about 24,000 years past due. So at any moment during this podcast, there could be a supervolcano erupt and kill 1 billion people.
Okay, where are these super volcanoes and why don't they learn how to plug these suckers up?
They're all over the place and they don't make plugs that big. So what would this eruption look like, you may ask? Well, according to this article, it would be like 1,000 atomic bombs exploding every second during the eruption. And I'm talking about atomic bombs like Hiroshima.
Yeah.
Other than that, it should be okay.
Okay. Well, now you've given me anxiety. Thank you.
You're welcome. That's what the show's all about. So one of the most well-known of these supervolcanoes is actually Yellowstone.
So I was going to say, Yellowstone is like all over the map with that.
Scientists believe that this has erupted about every 600 to 700,000 years. And it's been about 640,000 years since the last one, again, leading them to believe that this one is definitely overdue. An eruption at Yellowstone would leave a crater the size of Tokyo, the largest city in the world.
Okay, I never want to go to Yellowstone.
But we could take pictures.
And see bears.
Number 8, Yogi. Oh, wait, that's Jellystone.
Yeah, it's not
Wrong park. Number 8, brain-eating amoebas.
No, that's true.
These are going to get pretty bad, by the way.
This is true.
These
Little
are
kid just died just recently.
true. Thank you for doing my show. Would you like to take over?
Sorry. Go ahead.
These are actually pretty common, although based on what I've read, brain-eating amoebas really aren't amoebas. First, what is an amoeba, you may ask? It's a type of cell or a single-celled organism which actually has the ability to alter its shape. So it kind of is like some alien shit to me, but these, quote, brain-eating amoebas are actually pretty terrifying. They enter into the nasal passages, usually when folks like you and I are heading out to the lake or jumping in a river or go swimming in a pond, okay?
Which is why I don't do that.
You do that all the time, except you float. You don't actually get into the water.
Exactly.
They usually live in warm bodies of fresh water. They travel into your nose and they head up into your brain, where it begins destroying the actual brain tissue. Now, you may tell yourself, this is exactly why I don't swim in lakes. However, don't think you're completely safe from having your brain eaten just because you don't partake in having outdoor fun, Stacy. Just recently in 2020, down the road from here in Lake Jackson, Texas, residents got a warning about their tap water, which began testing positive for these brain eaters. This began when a 6-year-old boy, Josiah McIntyre, died after coming into contact with the deadly microbes by being exposed to it, potentially just by taking a bath.
He was at a splash pad.
Well, wherever. He was splash pad, taking a bath, shower, whatever. All I'm saying is, don't think just because you're not jumping in a lake, you're safe.
Okay, yeah, I'm with you on that.
So his symptoms began as flu-like symptoms, but they progressed really rapidly, and pretty soon he was dead.
Yeah, it was like days, I think.
Although a horrible death, maybe you can be comforted to know that only about 20 people each year in the U.S. actually die from brain-eating amoebas.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought it was much more common than that.
And now, I'm not a news reporter, so I can go out and get like 7 references and stuff like that, so take it for what it is. Number 9 on my list, sudden arrhythmic death syndrome. This is when somebody, without any cause or any symptoms, just falls fucking dead from cardiac arrest. This is also known as SADS, and I apologize to laugh in the event that you've recently lost a member of your family to SADS. I just am mystified by this. And I know that I said there wasn't any symptoms, but there are actually some signs that could be happening to you. But as I read these, I think you'll kind of like agree that these are kind of symptoms that could apply to anyone, especially a fat guy like myself. So those are a family history with unexplained sudden deaths under 40, which I don't have.
I do.
Well, you could be at risk. Do you feel faint when you exercise?
Yes.
Do you find yourself getting excited or easily startled?
Yes. Somebody decides to jump out and scare me all the time. Yes.
Do you have consistent or constant chest pains and or shortness of breath while exercising?
Yes.
My thing it's like, isn't like pushing yourself to feeling faint and getting excited and startled and having pains and shortness of breath all part of exercising? Isn't that the point? But there are about 4,000 people a year that die from SADS.
Just 4,000?
Yeah, and unfortunately, like a lot of them are really young people. When I said under 40, I mean like kids.
So this
teenagers.
is like a weird type of thing. It's not like you have a heart attack and
it's almost like SIDS for babies.
Except for young
like
people.
Unexplained infant deaths.
Okay, it's not the same.
But it's SADS for like adolescents and young adults.
Okay.
And so like you could be like 22 years old, perfectly healthy, everything else, blah, blah, blah. And then you just fall dead one day from a heart attack.
You hear stories all the time about, people who said, yeah, my dad just dropped dead of a heart attack at 40.
Yep, that's it.
That kind of thing? Okay.
Number 10 on the list. 80 million bacteria can be exchanged in one kiss.
Ew. I always wondered, why do we do this French kissing thing? I don't understand it.
Nothing brings a couple together quite like building identical bacterial domes inside of their mouths.
Oh, that's so gross.
And it is true that about 80 million bacteria can actually be transferred over the span of about a 10-second kiss.
80 million?
80 million. And over time, assuming you and your partner share about 9 of these a day, which these people obviously haven't been married as long as we have.
Right.
The community of bacteria in your mouth will actually begin to develop and become identical to your kissing partner.
Okay, that's weird.
Yeah.
That's
why I left
so
it in there.
weird.
That's why I left it in there, because it's weird.
That's so crazy weird.
This one got me. And I actually went above and beyond when I researched this topic.
Okay.
Unlike the first 10.
I'm so worried.
Bot flies. Do you know what that is?
Bot flies? No.
Okay. It's a fly. It's an insect. It's, if I remember correctly, it's kind of got like yellow hair on it, kind of like a bumblebee a little bit.
Okay.
Okay. A botfly's entire purpose in life is to mate, procreate, and infest mammals with this larva, including the flesh of humans. Their eggs turn into little parasitic larvae, which get into your body until it's fed upon you enough to get big and strong enough and then crawl out of your skin to continue on to the next phase in its life.
What the hell? I've never had a fly crawl out of me.
You may have had it and don't know it.
What?
In total, a botfly's life expectancy is about 12 days. Why only 12 days, you may ask yourself?
Oh, yeah, that's what I asked.
You're like, Self, why is it only 12 days? Well, Self, because the adult botfly contains no mouth.
What?
It can't feed itself once it's transformed into an adult, and it ultimately starves to death. So literally, it has no other function in life except to mate and die.
What is the purpose of this? And how do they mate if they have no mouth?
I don't know.
Think about that, Tommy, before you say, I don't know.
and I actually have here, the only purpose in life is to mate and die, just like me, except I like to eat too. Another really interesting thing is how their eggs make it into your skin.
No.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
They don't really have time to find host, right? Because they only have 12 days. So for all their eggs, what they do is they like grab a mosquito or something like a housefly, sometimes flying through the air.
They grab it. They go, come here.
They grab it. And they attach their eggs to whatever this bug is, like a mosquito or whatever, with the sticky substance. And then the mosquitoes and the flies that are landing on you have these eggs on them.
No.
And the eggs, based on your body temperature, can feel the heat from your skin. And then the larvae just kind of like release themselves out of their eggs and drop right onto your skin. And what they do is they basically go into the wound that's left from the mosquito bite. They crawl into that little hole, or they'll find like openings within your hair follicles, right?
Oh, no.
And then once inside, they begin like chewing in air passages.
No.
So that way they can breathe while under your skin. And they stay here and they eat, living under the skin for like up to 3 months.
3 months?
This will cause like a slight inflammation to the skin. And what this does is it causes the body to begin something called exudate. And this is where the proteins and some like other debris, right, in your skin from the inflammation site begin like coming to the surface and kind of falling off the body, kind of like dead skin particles or whatever. They're basically like dead blood cells. And this is what the larva continues to feed on until it begins to molt. And then as it like molts and releases itself from its little soft shell, it kind of gets mixed in with the dead blood cells and all that. And then it starts eating that as well. The next stage is when it turns itself into like a cocoon-like creature where it develops and it eventually turns into a fully grown botfly, and then it emerges from your skin.
Okay, for the last 2 minutes, my mouth has been open wide because that is terrorizing to me. Oh my God. No.
Botflies are amazing.
No. So is it like a fly that comes out of your body? Or
Apparently.
Is it, like, how do you not know that there's a full grown like fly? Or is it just like a gnat at that point?
Some people might be like, oh man, I have like this cyst on the back of my neck.
Oh no. No.
Oh man, this pimple won't go away. It's been there for 3 months.
It's not a dead person. It's a live person. Oh no.
So, all right, here's another one.
Okay, you just freaked me out with that.
About 1 in 50 people in the United States currently have a brain aneurysm and they don't even know it.
What?
This is basically a brain aneurysm. Is when a blood vessel inside your brain, like part of the lining of the wall of the blood vessel becomes weak, and it kind of like starts filling up with blood, and it kind of balloons out, right? These ultimately can wind up leaking or even completely rupture, causing a very serious life-threatening bleeding inside your head. It's said that these leading up to rupture don't even have any signs or symptoms until it starts leaking or ruptures.
Yeah, and then you're like dead and like
I think it's really fast, yeah. Once this happens, a person will have an extremely sudden and severe headache. There's about 200,000 cases of this happening every year.
Mm-hmm.
But that was shocking to me. Like 1 in 50 people currently are living with a brain aneurysm and don't even know it. Like I know at least 100 people. So there's like two fools I know that are ready to go.
Well, I knew someone that I used to go to church with, and she went on an airplane flight and had an aneurysm in flight and died like
because of the change in
minutes.
Pressure.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Crazy.
Did you know that there are over 200 dead bodies on the top of Mount Everest, like right now?
What?
Because retrieving them is such a risk. They they just serve as markers for other hikers.
Yeah. Look, here's Bob. He has 2 arms in the shape of an X.
They can't get him. It's too dangerous. Mount Everest is known for having a record in the most deaths recorded while climbing the mountain.
I believe that.
This mountain is one of 14 in the whole world that reach 8,000 meters, and Everest is at the top of the list. Just getting to the base camp has proven to be too much for most seekers.
Mm-hmm.
According to climbernews.com, there are in fact about 200 current bodies stranded on the mountain. If that number is correct, that means that about 2/3 of the people that have died on the mountain have never been recovered. With that math, you could say that for about every 30 people that actually make the climb successfully, 1 person will die during the attempt.
I say no. That's not a good record.
Yeah, but in all fairness, you don't even like to climb the stairs to come up to the podcast room.
This is true. You don't either.
It's true. When you die, your house cat is going to want to eat you.
I just told our daughter that the other day because she has COVID, and I told her, I was like, you got to let us know if you're sick or not because, I don't want to have to find out if the cat is eating your face.
So this is a huge urban legend. Or is it?
It's true.
According to the site inverse.com, although some people have a fear that cats will try to eat them while they're still alive, which is a real stretch.
Which is also true.
When it comes to their dead owners, the story starts to change and get pretty dark. The fact is, when a cat's owner dies, there's just no more food being put in the bowl, right? So the cat will, in fact, to begin to starve. All the while, you're laying there just doing nothing but rotting. In this scenario, the cat wouldn't have any other option of survival than to start chewing on the parts of its owner.
Mm.
It goes on to list some actual studies that people have done on the subject. It's kind of like the body farm in Tennessee, remember? They would throw bodies out and see what would happen under certain circumstances.
So they did the same experiment with cats.
Right, but I don't think it was in Tennessee. But anyway, in 1994, the American Journal of Forensic Medicine and Pathology did a study that found that cats that ultimately ended up eating their owners tended to start with the head, the neck, and the arms.
Mm.
In 2020, and I got a kick out of this because it's like the same name, but they just mix the words around. Anyway, another study was done by the Journal of Forensic Sciences, where scientists placed corpses outside a research station in Colorado to see what would happen in the wild. Sure enough, cats started showing up, and those ranged from feral cats up to bobcats, which that bobcat thing wasn't really a surprise to me, right? Because you think of those as real wild cats. But anyway, this study of cats showed that they showed up and began feasting almost immediately. There were notes made that showed the cats enjoyed the fresher corpses, meaning that they're not going to wait around very long before feeding on your body. The bobcats seem to enjoy the arms, the hips, the thighs, where the more traditional cats, like the cats that were just kind of out in the wild, loose
They're gonna
cats,
eat your nose.
They went straight to the face of the human corpses.
Mm-hmm. Which also, by the way, cats will eat baby's mouth and face because they smell the milk. And they just...
That is so morbid.
It's true.
We'll go with it being true for now. You swallow 1 to 2 cups of mucus every day.
I believe
You
that.
booger eating booger eaters. That's right. You eating boogers all day. But this is actually normal, and mucus plays an essential role to life. It's a huge part of the protective barrier our bodies create that allows us to breathe comfortably. The body does produce about 1.5 quarts of mucus each day, and for the most part, the bulk of that is actually swallowed. One misconception is that mucus comes from the nose. It's in fact generated by the trachea, and it's known as the body's fly trap. Its primary function is to lubricate your throat, your nose, other soft tissues associated with breathing. But in addition to that, it catches a lot of the other stuff entering your body as well as you breathe. It heads directly into the stomach because you're swallowing it, and it's digested as opposed to entering into your lungs where it could become trapped. So boogers, in my book, are okay.
Okay.
The average bed...
No, don't tell me anything gross about the bed.
It's almost bedtime, by the way. The average bed has between 100,000 and 10 million dust mites. Dust mites are microscopic insect-like pests that are not only in your mattress, but pretty much anywhere in your house that's made of fabric that people lay or sit on.
I'm never going to bed with you again.
For the most part, never mind. For the most part, they really aren't that gross. But they do contribute to some allergic reactions in people and may even contribute to asthma. Allergic reactions might look something like red patches or bumps on the skin. More severe issues could include nasal congestion, sneezing, red eyes, itchy nose, mouth, throat, coughing, tight chest, and even difficult breathing. When I read that part, as I was doing my research, I'm like, do you know how you wake up in the morning and you're like, oh man, my allergies are real bad already? Probably dust mites, not allergies.
Well, you're allergic to them.
Right, but it's not like what you would normally think with tree pollen and all that.
So we need to how do we wash our mattress? I don't know how to do that.
A really big washing machine. So overall, it doesn't really seem like that big deal, right, to me. But then I did some research. It just didn't seem like a big deal to me, especially comparing it to something like the botfly, right? So I went further.
Mm-mm.
And in addition to dust mites being in your bed,
no, don't say anything else gross.
The average person secretes about 26 gallons of sweat every year into their bed. Oh
my God.
26 gallons.
Gallons?
So when you buy a new mattress and you carry it upstairs by yourself, right, with no problems, and then 5 years later, it takes like 4 dudes to move it, this is why. Years of dead skin cells is absorbed into the mattress along with colonies of dust mites and dust mite poop. Oil and moisture from your body is also absorbed into the mattress over time. Some experts say that after about 10 years of use, a used mattress contains about 10 pounds of dead skin.
Just set it on fire.
Speaking of dead skin.
Oh my God. Jesus.
I read a statistic that about 15% of the air we breathe actually contains dead skin.
Oh my gosh.
How is that possible? Well, according to another study, about 80% of all dust actually comes from dead skin. You combine that with pollen, hair, textile fibers, paper fibers, soil minerals, and cosmic dust, which is pretty cool. And that's what makes up dust.
Cosmic dust?
Yep.
Okay, let me just say that smoking doesn't sound so bad.
It doesn't. Here's something cool to think about that you probably wish you never learned.
Here we go. What?
Before you borrow somebody's coffee cup, understand that there's a 1 in 5 chance it's covered in fecal matter.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Here's some more top items with fecal bacteria.
Your cell phone? Let me guess.
You may want to think about. I'm like a 12-year-old boy talking about poop jokes. Restaurant menus.
Oh, God.
In this restaurant where this test was ran, the menus were actually wiped down according to their restaurant policy between each use. However, they still tested positive and contained over 180,000 different bacteria. Smartphones. Think about this the next time you want to grab your buddy's phone and use it. Each cell phone tested had 10 times the amount of bacteria on it than what a public restroom would have.
Never touching anyone's phone. Never.
Washing machines.
Oh, no.
You would think that these would be clean with all the soap and the bleach running through them, but that doesn't outweigh the effect that a nice dirty pair of underwear has on it. Washing machines are absolutely covered in E. coli and other fecal matter.
Oh, my God.
And bacteria. So how many times, and I ask you this question because this happened a lot, have you went and like swapped out the wash while you were in the middle of making dinner?
Oh, no.
Yeah, it happens all the time, right? You get dinner started and you're like, oh, let me go change the clothes out, get it. Yeah, gross. So think about that next time.
Well, you know what else? I saw this thing on like some kind of TikTok or YouTube thing where like in the center of the washer inside, of the tub area, there's like a screw thing that you can take off and it has all this gunk inside. I'm just like, oh, how do I change that? I don't know. That's gross.
Fecal.
Ugh.
And while you're in there cooking and you're wiping down the counters in your kitchen, think of that sponge and wash rag that you're using.
Oh, I know. That's awful.
The next rag you're using to clean was tested and again had more bacteria on it than even a toilet seat. Don't get me started on the TV remote at a hotel.
Oh, no. I can only imagine.
I'll let your guys' mind run wild with that one.
I don't want to take like one of those black lights to a hotel because you know what you see with one of those black lights and you just like, I will never sleep in a hotel
I used
again.
your black light when the kids were little and like everything was disgusting and I went into the bathroom and I was like, look at this, guys. And I flipped off the light. I turned on the black light and there was like
piss on the ceiling. How does that happen?
How does that happen?
I don't know.
How did you urinate?
What did
on
they
the ceiling?
do? They went crazy in there one day? I don't know. That's crazy. Oh, disgusting. We just have to like scrub everything down and just like go in there with what is it called? Hazmat suits. Yes, it's just disgusting.
Anyway, also next time if you're wanting to be slick and use those touchscreens at McDonald's instead of waiting your turn in line, these things are absolutely 100% covered in E. coli and fecal matter. Swimming pools, especially where there's babies swimming in swim diapers, are full of diarrhea explosion-causing bacteria.
Oh, no.
The diapers are only designed to hold everything inside from the baby for maybe about a minute. That's it. And after that, it's free game. And the chlorine that's in the pool, you're like, oh, well, this shit's like loaded down with chlorine. It'll kill anything. It takes about 24 hours for that chlorine to actually kill the bacteria that's floating around inside your pool.
Never going swimming with a baby again.
Lastly, you can avoid all this if you want to, but ultimately you still have to breathe. And with that said, air is totally full of shit particles related to poop. The worst culprit is dog shit. Dog poop releases more fecal particles into the atmosphere than any other poop.
It's so stinky.
Yes. Now, on to the worst thing ever as we close down the show.
What? There's more? How's that possible?
This show has it all. There's 3 things in the world that absolutely freak me the fuck out. That's onions, tornadoes, and roaches.
Oh, okay. I go
you
with
know this
tornadoes
about me.
and roaches.
You know
not
this
the
about
onions.
me. I can walk up to a snake. I can grab a spider with my bare hands. And honestly, I don't even think like a home intruder coming in here and holding me at gunpoint would be worse than having to eat a fucking onion, being swept away by a tornado, or having a fucking Texas flying wood roach land on my chest.
Oh my God.
But here we go with more disturbing facts that you wish you didn't know. Cockroaches have been recorded eating human flesh. First things first, cockroaches eat people. Absolutely, 100%. Roaches are omnivores, meaning they'll eat whatever they can get their nasty little fucking roach hands on, including plants and meat.
Ugh.
They also don't discriminate between the living and the dead. It's been proven that they love the taste of fingernails, eyelashes, the dead skin on the bottom of your feet and on your hands.
Oh, no.
So if you're in an area that has roaches that come inside your house, there's absolutely a chance that while you're laying in your bed covered in dust mites, like while botfly larvae,
sweat.
botfly larvae are feeding on your flesh and hatching and crawling out of your body.
Oh my
Roaches
God.
are getting under your blankets eating away at the dead skin on the bottom of your feet and slowly making their way up your body to your face where they're going to chew on your fucking eyelids.
Oh my God, don't say these things. I'm not going to be able to sleep. Why would you say
In
that?
continuing why I hate these fucking bugs, I found an article on Ranker.com with the 18 worst stories about cockroaches.
No.
And here is a brief overview of my favorites. Number one, cockroaches found nesting inside of a child's ear.
Oh.
Number 2, a cockroach flies into a person's eyeball.
Oh.
Number 3, computers filled with roaches.
Oh.
Let me tell you something about number 3.
Oh, no.
I actually worked at Rent-A-Center in my younger days.
Oh, no.
In the process of selling these items would typically go to people who are either young without any credit or older people who have established bad credit.
Yeah.
And a lot of times they don't necessarily go to the best places.
Uh-huh.
Okay. We're not working with like I was a Rent-A-Center customer. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm not putting anyone down, but the typical Rent-A-Center customer is not the epitome of cleanliness. And in that business, about 80% of everything that you sell, you're going to wind up repossessing. It just is what it is.
Uh-huh.
Roaches are drawn
To heat.
to the heat. So anytime you go and pick up a computer, the first thing that you do is you take off the side casing and you empty out all the cockroaches
Gross.
because you have to clean up that computer and then resell it into the next person walking in the door looking for a computer. That means when you go there and you buy this shit and you're getting somebody's used stuff from one of these places.
No.
Cockroaches.
No.
Roaches hiding out all day inside of someone's underwear.
Mm-mm.
People that accidentally drank roaches. A sandwich maker compacted full of roaches.
Oh, no.
A pregnant cockroach that exploded with roach babies running out everywhere.
No.
Roaches found in toothbrush holders.
Oh, no.
And last but not least, roaches found nesting inside of a woman's vagina.
Oh, I heard that one. No, that's terrible.
And with that, ladies and gentlemen, I bid you adieu.
Oh, thank you so much for ending those stories. Those are awful, and I will never be able to sleep tonight. Thank you.
And that is the ending of the episode that has no name yet, but will probably be called Scary Things You Wish You Didn't Know. So, Stacy, would you like to say anything before we get out of here?
I hate you very much.
And you're welcome. And guys, that's the end of this freak show. I hope you had a blast with us. This was really, really, really fun. It was kind of nice to kind of get to our roots and do something that was kind of loose and fun. And I hope you guys had fun with us. And until next time, we'll see you.
Bye.